Ah, welcome one, welcome all. I see you there, come on. Don't be shy, you're here now. Might as well see what a random stranger on the internet thinks about your role in this kids game that's really popular right now. Oh, wow, you're still here. Alright, well, before we get started, I'd like to formally say all the information in this video is based fully on facts and extensive research on the psychology of thousands of players playing each role. None of the information in this video is opinion based, which means if you have any issues with what I have to say, you can go fuck yourself, you filthy mouth breather. Right, let's get started with the first tank in the roster. So, your friends found out how broken the Hulk and Iron Man team up is, and now you're just legally forbidden from playing anyone else. That being said, you found yourself enjoying the raw power Hulk gives you. You take great pleasure in watching the panic in the enemy's tanks' faces as they realize their shields can't fucking stop you. Being a bully for once in your life gives you a sort of euphoric bliss that you now search for every time you jump into the enemy's back lines. Oh, and don't get me started on that feeling you get when you activate that luxurious ult of yours that lets you recreate that scene from the Avengers movie and forces the enemy team to watch helplessly as you fling their tank around like a ragdoll, because seriously, what the fuck are they supposed to do at that point? Oh, and even if they survive that round of thrashing you give them, if you have a competent teammate who sees you violating the enemy tank, or just someone on call with you, they'll help you out when your animation ends and finish the job for you, so you can go out hunting for your next victim. Because remember, you're a tank, not a DPS, even though you get MVP every game. Just remember to complain to your healers that you aren't getting healed enough from the other side of the map to give your team that full Hulk experience, and you'll be just fine. So, you want to play a tank that can annoy the backlines, being a sort of beefier Black Panther, just without the kills, the assists, or generally any effect on the match. Being the final form of a mosquito, you know you are at your peak when your stat line shows complete zeros the whole way down. Being a constant nuisance to the enemy that never quite goes away. You dash in, throwing a few punches, just enough for the enemy to notice a lack of healing, but not enough for them to actually go and help. Then dashing out when shit starts hitting the fan, getting some heals, and doing it all over again. Being that little bitch you know you are deep down inside, you thrive on these maidenless tactics of getting in, smack, and getting out. Thanks to the style of gameplay you've grown accustomed to, you are sure that the enemy has to divide their focus, ideally those squishy healers who now have to deal with you instead of healing their tanks, which hopefully means, if your team has a brain cell, that their tanks are gonna go down a lot faster than usual. Fingers crossed. Now, look, I know you want to be a different kind of tank and show you don't have to follow the meta to win games, and that's very noble of you, but maybe try making that point with Thor, or Peni, or really just anybody else, or better yet, try making that point when you're not on my team. For those few of you who saw the simplicity in this character and chose to see it as a blessing instead of a curse, you are truly appreciated. The good doctor has a low skill floor, being very easy for newcomers to get their hands on and being a sort of mascot to the tank role, but also having a high skill ceiling, which sadly doesn't really show in the stats. The true strength of this character lies in his humongous brain, standing strong as an anchor on the point, pressing the enemy healers when they are starting to get too comfortable in their positions, and knowing the right time to fly up, as you know you can't help anyone if you are dead. And most importantly, knowing the right time to ult to get those crispy aces as your duelists finish the job off thanks to you. Oh, and don't get me started on those absolutely luscious teleports you pull off, saving the game countless times, and many times even win the game thanks to it. Sadly, you are often held back by your teammates not taking advantage of the opportunities you create for them. But when the rival gods look up fondly on you and give you a competent team, or you get out of elo hell, it is a sight to behold. Sadly, you sometimes see a DPS who gets outvoted and has to play tank. It happens. But unfortunately, they proceed to play like a third DPS with more health, and it shows as they complain that nobody knows how to play the game, that nobody's pulling with them, and that they're just not getting healed, despite being at the enemy spawn point as if they were Spider-Man. To these players, I hope you realize, it's a team game. You can't be DPS all the time. Ah, Mr. Fortnite himself. I see all your friends have finally convinced you to try something new, but you haven't really seen a game as good as Fortnite since it dropped. But you tell yourself, there's no harm in trying one round to prove to yourself and others that there's still nothing quite as good as that masterpiece of a game. You load your first match. As you do, you notice that funny tree from those Marvel space movies, and you decide, seeing as you're only going to play one game, you might as well reenact some scenes from movies. Timeless classics such as I Am Groot or I Am Groot. Oh, and we can't forget about this gem, I Am Groot. You see, that's the one from the prison thing, whatever. Groot spoke to you immediately, needing very little time to adjust from game to game, as you just do the same thing basically. Build forts around that one poor enemy who stepped 1 foot too close to you. A perk of these rules, as you have already found out, is for every hit you do, they give a quick smack on the backside of anyone too close to them. So, that poor Moon Knight who just wanted to see where he could flank from, ends up getting a tree root shoved up his rectum, which, based on his ragdoll animation, after a fact, doesn't look too pleasant. You have found yourself in this character from his appearance to his voice lines, and it just reminds you of the joy you felt first time playing Fortnite. And you are far too eager to share that feeling with the enemy team.
Fear Magneto!
I'm sorry about that, don't know how he got in here. Anyways, as the better of the two mutant leaders, you show your dominance as you absorb all damage sent forth with the precise timing only a king could master. You are single-handedly responsible for the survival of your Punisher during his ult, and also of your healers who are getting solo ulted by that fucking Psylocke. You're taking the piss, cunt, get the fuck off them! Not everybody can appreciate the pure genius of this hunky man, and despite his extremely slow movement speed, which again, how's that fucking possible, you're flying, he holds the line and many times is the reason why your team has the time to come back and wipe the enemy team off the face of the planet. Being a counter to legit every single defensive ult in the game, with your big fuck off rock one-shotting those healing fucks wherever they have the audacity to ult in your presence. You just have to make sure you aim right, but that's a minute detail. Just don't watch the footage right now. Yeah, don't watch that. Oh, and don't get me started on that luscious team up. Yes, if somebody picks Scarlet, you might be down to DPS, because, let's be real, we're not going to be doing much during the game, and it makes it the 5v6. But, with Magneto's big fuck-off sword that shoots laser beams across the whole map, it becomes a 6v6 again, with the added bonus of having a 600 HP DPS. Oh, and also, just because I can, I have to add some Professor X slander, because unlike that crippled bitch, you were in the base roster of the game. So, enjoy.
It's spider time!
I hate you, and so does everybody that plays with you. You are the definition of a one trick, but you really haven't understood the whole trick part. My main issue with you is that despite what your stat sheet says, during the games, your presence isn't really felt. Oh, that's unless you stack your mines in one spot and kill a tank in a one shot. Fuck you, by the way. You are the biggest of off-tanks, taking cover like a little bitch, cause there's nothing better in the world than the enemy team charging their ults on you because you're not doing anything. Oh, and how our healers can't do anything else except for heal you as they desperately try to save you from the cold embrace of death. You might as well be shooting from a pea shooter, cause the damage you do is laughable. Mine's there, mine's here, mine's fucking everywhere, just not where they need to be. Put a trap down here and protect it with your life. It might as well be your life, cause the second that shit's gone, you go from a tank to a chunky DPS with no damage. You're like Captain America, just somehow even worse. Oh, the excitement I feel when I see a Penny on my team when we are attacking an objective, pushing an objective uphill, fighting our asses off, doing the best against an enemy that isn't diving and is still steamrolling us somehow. That's crazy. Oh my god, the joy I feel in those moments could fuel a small country for decades, I'm sure. In short, you are a pathetic pile of hot doo-doo, and I hope you remember that the next time you flash your Lord Penny icon, as if anybody cared. Oh, and I hope you know you are sad and need a shower, and go outside because seriously, who the fuck is proud of mating the Penny? I mean, look at this guy. Imagine maining a tank. What a loser, man. What? Just get a grip, man. Hey, what's that? What? Hey, stop that. No, stop looking. No, that's nothing to see here. No, stop. No, it's definitely not a Lord Hulk icon. No, stop. No. Okay, next one. Come on. Come on.
Hulk's the god of thunder!
Now, you really are sick and tired of DPS being boosted to your rank. And quite honestly, I hear it, man. I also completely understand why you don't just play DPS, but we'll get to that later. Personally, I see you as the most flexible tank in the game, being very confident as a substitute anchor tank for when your colleague dies. You can bully the backlines about being the DPS you always wanted to be, but never quite had the health to survive the bullshit dives you always end up concocting, which therefore is the fault of your healers and in no way shape or form your fault. And if any healers want to complain to me, just remember, I can and I will solo ult you, and you'll be crying in the comments that you are being bullied by the shit tank from the last game. Now, back to it. You can also always roleplay as your favorite tank, Peni, and hide behind corners and play peekaboo with the enemy Bucky, and once again, blame the whole team for being fatherless heathens who probably have to read the instruction manual when playing Tetris. And now that I come to think of it, they're probably also the reason there are warning labels on the back of G-strings. Hey, let's just move on. If you play your cards right, you could total the best stats in the game. Most kills, 2 deaths, again, not your fault, and 0 assists. 'Cause assists are for pussies. You play the game on your own terms, and no matter the outcome, you make sure you play the game the way you want it to be played, regardless of what your team thinks. I should probably talk about your ult now. Look, let's just be real for a sec. Even though your ult is kinda wank and really easy to get out of, nobody can deny the fact that if used in a small room, or just sees an opportunity, looking at you, Doctor Strange, you can very easily turn the tide of a battle and even win games. Imagine that, ranking up. Must be nice. Anyways, let's get to Venom. And last but definitely not least, if you know what I mean, the definition of unkillable. Diving into the backlines, forcing the whole team to turn around to deal with you and your 19 inches of symbiote. The second you are low on health, you press E and get all your health back, ready for round 2. But wait, when that health goes, it must mean you're gonna die this time, right? Of course not, you idiot! Because then you do what you do best, and you swing away to your healers to heal you, and rinse and repeat the whole game, and watch how game by game you gradually climb the ranks, leaving those filthy wood ranks behind. And yet somehow still get flamed for not sticking to the team by the DPS. You can't win them all. Instead of, taking advantage of your dives, they scream into the mic saying that you're just auto-charging the enemy team. Which sometimes is fair, but they're just trying to compensate for being 5 and 10, so. There really isn't much more to say about him. He's great at what he does. Dives in, distracts the enemy team, does fantastic crowd control, and then dives out and just does this all game, securing himself the #1 mosquito award, as he does it better than anyone else in the game. So, yeah, that's about it. So, thank you all for watching this video. I hope it's not just complete rambling, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So, I have plans of making videos like this for the duelists and the supports. It, just knowing me, might take a minute, it might not even be relevant at that point, but I still want to force myself to do it so that I have some kind of system going on. So if you're interested, I hope you look forward to that, and I can't wait to see you guys here again. Take care. Bye bye.